This game mode wasn't meant to survive. Now, when Modern Warfare 2019 released, many of you will know that it released with a number of modes, but one mode in particular wasn't supposed to survive as long as it did, and caused some very large headaches for the team at Infinity Ward. The mode in question? Ground War. Now, I'm sure many of you will know of Ground War or have played it at least once in the history of Call of Duty. But Ground War actually started off as a joke mode added to the Xbox 360 and PS3 days of Call of Duty. It was supposed to be a joke mode. It was actually introduced as an April Fool's Day joke as a playlist in Call of Duty for 12 to 18 players. So how did an April Fool's Day joke playlist end up being one of Call of Duty's most successful assets in Modern Warfare 2019? So successful that not only did they have to create new maps for it that they didn't intend on making, and update it more than they were intending, they've even tried to add the mode to Call of Duty Vanguard because it was missed. This mode that began its life as an April Fool's joke and was discontinued repeatedly, especially on Black Ops 2, due to limitations on old-gen consoles of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, is now a shining gem in Call of Duty. Why did this happen? The answers might surprise you, because some of them most people don't even know about. And the first one is skill-based matchmaking. Now, yes, skill-based matchmaking is very controversial, but in theory there's nothing wrong with it. A sweat like me shouldn't be ruining lobbies for somebody who only plays an hour or two a week. But the problem is that in traditional multiplayer environments of 6v6 and team deathmatch and domination, you can't relax anymore. You can't listen to music. You can't, mess around on your phone or message somebody in the middle of a round. Every single moment from start to finish is a sweat fest. And that happened in Modern Warfare 2019. Despite how fun the game was, there were just simple moments where you couldn't enjoy yourself in multiplayer, which is what Modern Warfare has always been good at. It's always been good at just having some friends online, messing around and not taking things too seriously, and still enjoying the game. So what do they not have in Ground War mode? Skill-based matchmaking. It doesn't exist in Ground War. Now, every single time you matchmake in a Call of Duty mode, there will be a skill-based matchmaking parameter. The game will spend 30 seconds to a minute deciding who should be in the lobby, how they can get this fair, and try to make things relatively balanced. Now, the problem with that is that when you've got 64 players in what they thought would be a fairly unpopular playlist, the skill-based matchmaking parameter didn't exist in Ground War. Now, in Call of Duty Warzone, which has 150 players, SBMM does exist because they have a massive pool of players to choose from. But because they didn't think Ground War was going to be popular, and because they didn't see it being such a success, SBMM never made its way into Ground War. And you can play this thing at any time of the day, on a weekend, during the week, on a Friday night, and it's going to be the same experience. You can actually chill out and enjoy Ground War. You don't have to jump shot, trick shot corners and do everything that you would expect in a random game of domination or search and destroy these days. You can just chill. You can listen to some music. You can banter with some friends. Whatever it is, Ground War will let you do that because it isn't a serious mode. It doesn't take itself seriously, and people who play it are generally just there to have a good time, shooting some pixels on screen and calling it a day. Now, the second reason is kind of an accidental win for Call of Duty, and that's the death of Battlefield. Battlefield 5 was a fairly weak and abysmal game. Nobody really enjoyed it, and people who say it was a good game now are kind of lying to themselves a little bit. And 2042, of course, which is just released, was equally one of the worst FPS releases we've seen in recent history. Now, yes, the team play dynamic in Call of Duty can be a fair cry away from what you would expect in a Battlefield game. But considering the new Battlefield doesn't even have team play mechanics or has specialists replacing classes, really the difference between Ground War in Call of Duty and Battlefield has kind of blurred a little bit here. There isn't a huge distinction between playing as an operator with a custom loadout in Ground War and playing as a specialist without classes in Battlefield 2042. So when one game dies and doesn't offer what people anticipate, another game can very much fill that gap very quickly, especially for console players who are just looking for different experiences. And I guess that was the huge success of Modern Warfare. you had gunfight, you had warzone, you had multiplayer, you had co-op, you had single player, and you had ground war. There were so many distinct experiences for you to enjoy, and they catered towards as many of them as they could. So no SBMM, and your closest competitor for this kind of mode taking a long walk off of a short cliff, means that you suddenly have this mode which actually has a lot of potential. And potential causes problems if you're Call of Duty. Not only were they not expecting to release maps for this thing, which they fully weren't going to do, it definitely wasn't in the design process to have more ground war maps, but they also weren't ready to update the thing. People started complaining about balancing in ground war, and normally if a mode is kind of inconsequential, Call of Duty will just ignore it. They won't really care about the balancing, they'll just let things go on as they were before. Especially when ground war first launched and the spawns were really bad and the way the systems worked weren't great. But suddenly they had this huge vocal community of players who really wanted this mode to work properly, and they had to do it. Not only did they have to update ground war, fix bugs with the maps, fix exploits, they even had to release new content. And they were in such a panic that if you look at all of the ground war maps in the end, only one of them isn't from Verdansk. When the game launched, they had Anya Palace, and that was the only official one that didn't come from the Verdansk map. Karst River Quarry was from Verdansk, Farmland, Verdansk, Promenade, Verdansk, Port of Verdansk, Verdansk, Verdansk International Airport, Verdansk Riverside, and Zarkov Boneyard were all Verdansk. There was only one standalone individual ground war map made for Modern Warfare 2019, and they weren't expecting to make more. They had to panic, they had to get these maps out because it had a huge number of players, and they had to try and release maps even though they had no intention of making them. And this is very much what happens when a games company and developer has to think on its feet. Now, they weren't expecting Ground War to be a success, which meant that they never actually planned future maps for the content to release. You know, if you're working on a Ground War map which is fairly large for 64 players, you'd have to plan it at least 6 to 8 months in advance to give the developers time to create the content. But they just simply didn't do that in this case, and panicked to such an extent that they didn't get any Ground War maps on the field. So why am I bringing you this mode, which has no SBMM, which, you know, slightly pokes the bear when it comes to Battlefield, and technically didn't receive any new content? Well, the answer to that is because of the potential. Ground War became hugely popular, and I can guarantee you it will release in Modern Warfare 2. I can also guarantee you that they will definitely be making new content for Ground War in Modern Warfare 2, and I can definitely guarantee you that Ground War is going to evolve in Modern Warfare 2 2022. With Battlefield 2042 firmly in the mud at the moment, there has never been a larger opportunity for Call of Duty to steal as many players as it can than with Modern Warfare 2. We've got the multiplayer, allegedly they're going to have the DMZ extraction mode, they could have gunfight, which is a 2v2 mode return, and they could definitely have ground war in the play as well. And if they offer all of these experiences in one package, I can guarantee you where the FPS player base is going to go. Go and play this, and I mean this, go and try Ground War from Modern Warfare 2019 today, and I guarantee you you're going to have fun with it. You know, I'm talking fun where you can play some games, listen to some music, chill out with your friends. This is enjoyable. Ground War 2019 from Modern Warfare was actually a boatload of fun, and loads of people, including myself, realized this. Now, I'd love to know what your thoughts on this are. Did you enjoy Ground War? Did you play it, and were you looking for more? It could be an interesting year, and Call of Duty very much could be looking to twist the knife in Battlefield and really give them some more problems to think about. As always, folks, thank you for joining me today. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, we're on the road to 100k, and I'll catch you again in another video.